The Hamilton and Verstappen crash in Silverstone last week didn't just polarize the opinions of F1 fans, it also polarized the opinions of the entire F1 community as well. I found myself sailing in the same boat. It is very easy to make a decision or an opinion if you were a Hamilton or a Verstappen fan, or a Mercedes or a Red Bull fan. You just blame the other. But what if there is another way to look at it? Welcome to the Uncommon Side. Ride with me today as I explore the uncommon view of the Hamilton and Verstappen controversial crash in Silverstone 2021. Now, if you want to explore something, what do you generally take away from it completely depends upon how one approaches that subject. For example, if you were to approach a sunflower as a painter, you will probably appreciate its aesthetic beauty and the vibrancy of its color palette. If a mathematician were to approach that exact same sunflower, he would see in it the asymmetry of its numbers perhaps, or the golden ratio in which how the seeds are arranged. Similarly, as a fan, if I want to explore the uncommon side of the crash, then I realize that I must approach F1 in a completely uncommon way. So let's begin with why I like F1, and it's for all the uncommon reasons. As humans, we are very territorial beings. From our hunter-gathering days, we can observe that we have always found comfort in numbers, and together we have climbed up the food chain. When we began to gather in numbers like this, it became harder and harder to be nomadic. So we began forming settlements. In time, those settlements grew and grew into villages, kingdoms, districts, states, and countries now. And it is in this very aspect where I see Formula One makes a big difference. Because when I look at any sport, it is territorial. Most of them are. Take football, for example. As a fan, we have the World Cup when we always end up supporting our own country, even if Cristiano Ronaldo is in a completely different team. This loyalty is ingrained in us since prehistoric times. The loyalty to my land, the loyalty to my settlement. Now, if your country is not taking part in the World Cup, which is always in my case, I then end up looking for Cristiano Ronaldo and support the team or the country that he is playing for, and I end up supporting Portugal. Now, this loyalty can shift because it's based on a person and not a territory. For example, if my favorite football star ends up killing baby pandas for some reason, then I will end up obviously looking for another idol and support that country. This is basically how we function if you actually think about it. I simply supported Manchester United at one time simply because my friends supported them, and then I ended up liking Rooney and Fergie. So you get it, right? Countries versus countries and territories versus territories. Now, this is where Formula One really took me over, and today it's probably the only sport I watch. It is probably the only other sport that I don't have to support my own country because we're not in that too, or any other country for that matter. In other words, I don't watch Formula One to watch countries competing with other countries. That's simply not the approach for me. This is probably one of the rarest sports on the planet where I watch it to celebrate the diversity and the inclusivity of the Formula One community. The teams, the racers, the commentators, the fans, they all come there for one and only one thing: racing. To watch these marvelous machines race through those complex tracks and to make us feel like our blood is racing with them through our veins. And this is where the Hamilton and Verstappen crash comes in. When I watch it as a Formula One fan, suddenly I see this entire collision in another light. I see it as two people were racing very aggressively and neither wanted to back down. And it happened. And like I mentioned before, the Formula One community had its opinions polarized, just like the fans, just like all of us did. But the stewards, with all their information and glory, made their decision, and Hamilton was penalized. As an F1 fan, what I'm trying to say is that no amount of revisiting or no amount of speculation is ever going to change that. It's history now, time has moved on, and so should I. I realized I should sit back and enjoy a sport that doesn't just get my blood racing, but also keeps me at the edge of my seat entertained like this. Most importantly, as a human being, I want to sit back and enjoy a sport that has nothing to do with separating us based on where our settlement is, where we come from, but instead it finds ways of including us in the diversity of that community. Where you come from doesn't matter, as long as you have something solid to contribute towards racing. So I decided I'm going to let Formula One do its thing in what it has to say about the collision and what comes out of it. And they did make a decision. Now, whether that was the right decision or the wrong decision, all I can say is that Formula One will learn and correct itself for future racers who might find themselves in similar situations. Because this is what we do as people, and Formula One is nothing but made up of just people. And people are not perfect. And this is what people will always strive for, striving for perfection. At least most of us do. And incidents like this fosters that strife. That's the bigger picture for me. So what I feel about the Hamilton and Verstappen crash, this is what I feel. Maybe just like sportsmanship, what I need to have is fanmanship. And maybe this is a sport where I can learn that. And yes, I invented that word. This crash actually ended up teaching a simple fan like me something really important. That if I ever find myself in such situations in life, I'm going to bear in mind how the painter, the mathematician, and the sunflower solved my own polarized opinion about the Hamilton and Max Verstappen crash. So the way I see it, what F1's taught me, especially that one race, is that we all sow our seeds in the present for our future. So we are the farmers of our lives. So as a farmer, I have two choices when the sunflower finally grows. See and enjoy the vibrancy of that sunflower through a canvas, and also enjoy getting lost in the logical mysteries of the mathematician's conundrum. So what I say when it comes to this crash, I'm going to be the farmer. This is how a painter, a mathematician, and a sunflower solved the polarizing thoughts that I had when it came to this crash. Support the uncommon view of life by liking and subscribing to my channel. And also hit me up with topics in the comment section down below that you want to hear the uncommon side too. Thank you for watching.